you're gonna own. With painted heroes shining bright, venturing onward in the endless night. Where the brawn meets the brush, the story's told in the strong imagination mold. With every stroke, the fantasy unfold, these are our soul. Where the brawn meets the brush, the story's told in the strong imagination mold. With every stroke, the fate to light for face of our souls, our soul. Hold up, I was muted right there where I said hello. How are you doing? Happy freaking Friday. Oh, let's turn that down a little bit. Well, we made it. It's another week done. It's another week in the bag. So well done. You're here. It's the weekend. For those that have to work at the weekend, sorry. But you will have your day off soon, I am sure. How are you doing, everyone? Hopefully you've had a wonderful geeky week. Welcome to Minis and Muscles. For those of you that are new to the show, we are a YouTube channel that paints miniatures from the world of Dungeons and Dragons to Warhammer to Gundam, whatever we want, we'll paint. Largely consisting of D&D and Warhammer, because that's kind of my fave. But I'm happy to paint anything. Can we just chat about geeky stuff all together? How is in the house? How you doing? Yeah, so we chat about geeky stuff. So be that comic books, be that Pokemon, you know, whatever it is, anything from the geek kind of world, we talk about it here whilst we paint miniatures. So we talk about little tips and tricks on when you're painting, so you can sort of learn a little bit as we go. And yeah, that's general the vibe. We have 3 parts to the show, 3 parts of the show. So we have our sort of main theme, and our main theme runs throughout the entirety of the show, and that is just a general chat conversational topic. So this week it's the world of miniature painting. Excuse me. Now what I mean by that is absolutely anything and everything to do with painting minis this week. So last week we were talking about computer games and Space Marines and things like that. This week it's all about painting, so miniature painting, and so we're just going to talk about loads of different things. I'll kick it off, but if you have a question about miniature painting, jump into the chat, let me know, because I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to have the conversation with you. So that is our general chat conversation. What else have we got coming up? We've got our muscle moment. So the second part of our show is the muscle moment. And this week it is entitled Legs is Best. So we will unearth a little bit of fitness conversation. So we normally do about 5 minutes or so, around the halfway mark. So we talk about fitness. We wouldn't be the place where the brawn meets the brush if we didn't talk about fitness. So we have our muscle moment about halfway through, and then sort of towards the end of the show we have our hobby horror. That is where we talk about something that's gone wrong in the geek world. So something we're trying to do, whether it's I've read it, whether it's happened to me personally. We talk about sort of the hobbying world and what's gone wrong in that hobbying world. So without further ado, let's take away that, and hopefully our camera lasts. So fingers crossed you've got your nice fresh water ready, and you've got a lovely, if I can open it, clean wet palette ready to rock and roll. So remember, this week's topic is all about the painting world, so anything to do with miniature painting. I almost forgot. A catch-up. How is asking, how are we? So I am very well, thank you, How. I should probably do a little catch-up refresh of what's been happening in my geeky world. So we had a game of I had a game of Warhammer. I played as the Sisters of Battle as ever, or mostly anyway. Some play Space Marines. So I played as the Sisters of Battle, and they faced off against Grey Knights. So a chapter of the Space Marines, And the Sisters of Battle won. Yes! Come on! Another good victory for the Sisters of Battle, so I was well happy with that. What else has happened? No D&D. That is next week for me, so I'll have that. And then gaming's been pretty limited, to be fair, this week. I think I played World of Warcraft maybe once. But yeah, mainly it was playing Warhammer. So that was a really good midweek game. Finished by, I think it was round 3, I want to say. So I think my buddy that was playing Grey Knights made a couple of deployment errors and first round errors in his movement, which then allowed me to then take control of the board, essentially. The points were fairly close, but I'd killed all his army and we were only on round 3. So, yeah, so it would have been more so if we'd have carried on. But it's all good learning. And that's one thing that I found with playing Warhammer. Even when you lose, and I've lost tons. I think for the first 6 months I lost pretty much every single game. You start to learn and understand a little bit more. And that's what I love playing about it. So... yeah, anyway, that was my geeky week. What was your geeky week? So drop it in the chat right down there or that side, whatever side it is for you. Or is it down below, actually? I'm not sure. But whatever your chat is and wherever your chat is, drop in there and tell me how your week has been, because I would love to know. Right, so just a quick recap. We've got our beautiful base. Ooh, look at that. Looking so luxurious and beautiful. Then we've built out a few models. So we've got this sister. She's throwing some petals out onto the floor. We've got this one and she's carrying a sort of sept kind of thing. This battle-ready battle sister with a sword. We've got this one swinging the incense. We've got this lady reading from a book. And then we've got this lady carrying a staff. So we've got all our sisters. They're the supporting roles, and then you've got St. Catherine herself. Oh, that way. St. Catherine herself in her sarcophagus. So this is kind of where we are at present. So it's coming along slowly, but it's coming along. What should it look like, I hear you say? So it should look like this. Badoomph. That big old beast. So there's loads going on there. So I'll turn it over to the back of the box so you can see that too. So there you go. You can see how the diorama should look. And that's what we're aiming for. That's what we'll be going for. I mean, our base looks fairly similar. If you think of our base there, well, that's the box fresh base. And then if we bring our base in along top, we're pretty similar. I think we've gone with a bit more striking colours, actually. I prefer my colour scheme. I'm not going to lie. So that is what we're going for, as always. So, got your paints ready if you're painting along. If you are painting along, what are you painting this evening? How is in the chat, and he's saying, for its cool dawn of war and printing, some Blood Bowl miniatures. Ah, okay. So is that 3D printing some Blood Bowl miniatures to play Blood Bowl, or a Blood Bowl variant, should we say? Turn that down a bit. It felt a bit loud, that music, didn't it? So let's swap over to our top-down camera. There we go. So that's what... Oh, I'm just looking at my camera and it looks all off. I don't know if you guys are seeing that or not, but it's looking all weird and off. I don't know why. Let's just move this a bit. There we go. That's a bit better. How do we... Let's get rid of that. Bump. There we go. That's better. There we are. Okay. So we need to apply another burgundy layer around the edge of this, actually, because it's last week when we made the paint up, it was a little bit thin, so we're gonna have to do that again, but that's not a problem. We will continue. So we'll do the burgundy around the edge, and then we'll start doing some brown for the woodwork. We have got some sort of silver struts that are 1, 2, 3 here. I don't know if they'll be silver or they might be gold. Probably. Let's have a look. Well, they're actually black. Oh, they're actually woody kind of colour in that. So maybe that is all wood. Okay, that's interesting. Alright, so we'll do the edge anyway first. Mix up this paint a bit, give it a good shake. Optimus is in the house. I don't think I've ever seen you paint a metal mini. No, you haven't. That is probably because I sold loads of my metal minis, as you know. Yeah, I don't have many metal minis left, to be fair. However, there are some metal minis that are not classic old school Warhammer, but they're just another branded metal mini that I was thinking of getting to paint because they're just cool characters, and actually getting them for a Dungeons and Dragons game. So yeah, I might get some metal minis again. It just depends really, dude. And a lot of places now, unless you're collecting classic old school games, a lot of miniatures now, they just don't do metal. You know, they just won't. They simply won't entertain it. So very few places do them. Even what's that Trench Crusade that came out recently? They've got plastic minis. So most places now are plastic, whether we like it or not. For me, I like the weight and feel of a metal mini, but I think the detailing of a plastic mini is far better. So you get a better looking mini when they're plastic painted, plastic formed. So yeah, so that's my thoughts. I'm not a 3D guy, I'm a kit bash guy. Ah, okay, how? So you're kit bashing, hey? I like it. So you can share the pictures of those once you're finished in the Discord. That would be very good. Be good to see what you come up with. So I'm not a massive kit bash person. I've done a fair bit, but I'm not super into that. I'm not particularly creative when it comes to thinking of how to make these things. So I'm not the best person to ask on kit bashing, if I'm honest. I'm just not that good at it. But that's not to say that anyone should not kit bash, because it's very cool. And for those of you who don't know what kit bashing is where people take a sort of handful of different miniatures and make one miniature from that. Or a load of spare parts. If they've got some spare parts, they'll make one miniature from a load of spares. So that's what that is. Lots of nice metal sisters on eBay. Yeah, so the metal sisters are quite cool. Now, again though, the trouble is I've got so many sisters, I don't need any of the metal ones. The one I would get, if I could get an old school sisters miniature, it would be the Repressor. There's a tank called the Repressor, and it's got like a massive firing deck, so it means units that are inside it can fire from within, but its firing deck's like something silly like 10 or something, or 12, so it can fire loads from inside. And for sisters, that's really helpful, because they're not very strong, bless them. They get wiped off the board very quick if they get shot. So they only have one wound. But yeah. Anyway, I'm glad you're all with me. Just remembering that today's topic is all about miniature painting as a whole. So if you want to talk about miniature painting, drop it in the chat and we will chat about it and have a little chin wag. So Optimus was sort of picked up the first baton, so to speak, that metaphorical baton, and ran with it for a good sprint on the 100 metres, saying that I don't paint many metal miniatures, so I will make a change and I will find some metal miniatures. I must have some somewhere that I can paint. And there's also some that I'd like to get, so I will get. There's certainly one that I definitely want to get. There's a sort of D&D inspired miniature So it will come. Don't worry, Optimus. Don't you panic. It's in the works. So all we're doing on the St. Catherine's catacomb, or whatever we want to call this, just filling in the edges, giving it this sort of nice burgundy look, because it's quite a thin paint. And then when you put it in the wet palette, it's even thinner. So a couple of layers are needed for this, but that's fine. It just means we have to go round a few times, so you'll see the same section of the Mini a few times. Sorry about that, people. But it's a pretty Mini, so it's worth it. Right, actually, I think we might be good. Oh, it's just that little lip. Just have to concentrate on this bit, so not to get too much paint all over the rest of the model. And I'm not using my geeky zoom in glasses, so there we go. That's good. All right, happy with that. Now for the brown, so we can build out the top of the model itself. I need to find a suitable brown. I'm just going to check the box art, actually. It's quite a dark... It actually looks a lot more like a dry brush brown. Okay. So we've got our dry brush here, so we can use this brush for it. That's not a problem. Looks a bit dark in the photo there, in the video. Does that make any better if I put that like that? Is it dark? Is that picture really dark for you guys? I want to try and make it better, but I bought some new lights and they're just not good enough. I need something that's really like powering down on here. I need like two, I don't know, sort of ring lights. That's what I need. Two ring lights just blazing onto this section here on my desk. That's what I need, but I don't have that. Right, we're going to go for this dryad bark, and I'm going to use this as a dry brush across the black, and then maybe do some highlights across some of the edges, because that's how it kind of looks like it's painted on the box. If I swing the box in here, whoop, there we go. Can you see that? It's upside down, but if you see how that's kind of painted on the box, that's kind of what I want to go for. So that's what we're going to try. Optimus is saying metal miniatures are harder to paint, however. Yeah, they are. They're just, the detailing on them is a lot more difficult to get right. So if you're looking at painting some old school Warhammer, absolutely give it a go. I grew up in the era of the lead miniature, so I have painted them before as a kid. I've done one or two as an adult that I've sort of had older models. But I do have a few, actually a few Imperial Guard, actually, which are pretty cool models. I just want to see what this looks like as we run this across here. Okay, that's not too bad. Although I'm painting a bit too much, actually. This is not really... got too much on the brush for dry brushing, if I'm honest. But it's kind of giving me the look that I want, so... Oh, sorry, painting off camera. Don't know if you can see that. Don't quite distinguish the two colours, does it? Doesn't quite do it justice. Alright, I'll take some photos and I'll stick it in the Discord at the end of the day so we can all see what it looks like. But I can assure you the brown is coming off. Always surprises me. I don't know if any of you do any sort of dry brushing as such, but it always surprises me how much paint comes off of your brush and for how long. You really can, even though you think you've sort of exhausted your paintbrush, you can get so much more out of them and off them. It's really good. And it can give you such a nice varied effect as well. go. Okay. So the only thing that's going to be a bit difficult actually is to get these edges here, because dry brushing is not a precision skill. It's a I'd say it's more a sort of mass area painting sort of skill. So it's fairly hard to be really precise with the old dry brushing. But I think this might come off all right actually. Little bit of patience. So I'm actually dry brushing over the top of some of the detail here that I'm going to use for a different colour, which is absolutely fine because when you're dry brushing it's only a little tiny bit of paint anyway, so it's very easy to paint over. Sorry guys, this lighting's really bugging the crap out of me. I wonder if we lower this a little bit. Bear with me, bear with me. Come on. Bear with me as we move the camera a little bit lower. Don't know whether that will help or not, but we'll have to readjust it here as well so we get the right angle. But fingers crossed we can. Don't know if that is better or not. Is that any better? Yeah, the lighting's a bit better, I guess, but it's not perfect. Apologies, guys. I need to work on my lighting skills. What's happening in the chat anyway? How was saying I've not been working so much in Inferno. Oh no, that's okay though, dude. Sometimes when you're doing hobbying, you just need to take a break. You just need to step back. Don't worry about it. It will come. It's in your head still. It's not, you know, it's not gone anywhere. You just need to take a step away, relax, and come back when you're ready. So don't panic out. Just relax, take it steady, and you will find your way back to Inferno. So for those who don't know, a regular watcher of mine, Hal, he paints, he is creating his own TTRPG called Inferno. So he's trying to do all of that and do all the artwork and the music and stuff like that. So he's pulling all that together. But yeah, don't worry, dude. Sometimes you just need to take a break. Sometimes it's just your body saying, I need a break, man. Just rest. Yeah. This is going on okay so far, but I'm not entirely convinced that I'll get away with just doing this. I'm going to have to come back and put some extra on here. Go. Right, let's get in all the nooks and crannies because we can come back and go over with some others, but I just want to make sure that this sort of brown, this dried brown is on and it's looking okay. There we go. Right, anyway, I'm getting carried away with the painting and forgot to chat about stuff. Optimus is saying, I've noticed you mostly like sticking to the box art. Yeah, I can see how being true to the universe, but do you like putting your own influences into models? Yes, so I do, Optimus. Great observation. With Warhammer stuff, I do tend to stick to the box art because I'm trying to build out an army that's consistent. If I'd just owned this one model, I'd probably go crazy if I hadn't collected Sister Battle and I'd just do it any old colour. but I do like a consistent paint scheme across my models when they're on the battlefield. So with Warhammer, yes. With Dungeons and Dragons models, I just paint whatever I feel. So they don't really come with, you know, army colours as such. So I just paint whatever I feel with those bad boys. So they just get the love, I think, in the creative side. But I'm not, as I said earlier, I'm not a super creative person, to be fair. You know, I'm not, you know, a super artist or anything like that. Or so when it comes to artwork, I'm not a massive visionary. So yeah, I do stick to artwork on the Warhammer models. Like I say, mainly because of the aesthetic for the army itself and how they look on the battlefield. Sometimes when you dry brush or sort of, I don't know if this is sort of more stippling or something, but when you're sort of putting these light layers of colour onto a model, it's so funny because you're trying to sort of be really gentle and not put too much on, and then you're sort of coming back to the model and you're having to get more paint and then get the paint mixture right, and you don't know whether you've got too much on there. So it's quite a test and adjust kind of feel with dry brushing, stippling, things like that. But actually, it doesn't look too bad. There's little bits I can't quite get me brush in though, which is rather annoying. It's right in there, but I can't get my brush in this little gap. Not very well anyway, so I might have to leave that one, and I don't think anyone will see it, so that's fine. Okay, so we've got our sort of brown edge. We now need to do a little cape. Oh, that should be white actually, so we need to mix up some white. Dang it, that's the worst colour to have to mix because it's a pain in the ass. White I've never found. Oh, there you go, there's a good painting question to ask for the audience, right? If you paint your miniatures, have you found a good white to paint with? I have not to this day found a good white that sort of comes out the pot and it isn't all sort of coagulated and thick where you have to really mix it down. So I've not found one. Has anyone else out there found one? How is saying it's not an RPG game, it's a war game. Ah, okay, apologies. I want to know if you was going to play Inferno, what ring will you play? Oh, maybe Gluttony, just for fun, because I can't be gluttonous in the real life, so you know I'll do it in pretend. Yeah, this paint's horrible, absolutely horrible. So has anyone got any white paint? There's my first topic of the day for our generalised chat, which is miniature painting as a whole. So absolutely anything and everything to do with miniature painting tonight. Let's chat about it. My first topic is white paint. Who uses white paint on their models? So we're going to use white on this sort of area here. And if you use white paint, is it a pain in the backside to mix the colour up every time? I'm just going to try and bring this forward a little bit to see if I can get that shining down here more. No, I can't. I'm trying to perfect the lighting situation we've got here. It's not particularly very good, so apologies. Right, let's get the geek glasses on because we're going to go in close. Here we are. So we need to do the tabard in the centre. I forgot to do that. So this tabard here, let's just move across here so we're in camera. This tabard should be white. There we go. See, the white I use, which is Corax white, if anyone wants to know. Once it's sort of mixed, it's really good when it goes on. But crikey, it's a thick old claggy paint. It's a pain in the backside. I don't know whether it's because it's the colour white, because I've never found a white. All the Citadel whites are claggy. Every single one. So, or every single one that I've used anyway. Maybe I've just bought paint that's 30 years old or something. I don't know. But what's your experience with white paint? Has it been as much of a pain in the backside to you as it has to me? To you, to me. For those slightly older in the audience, will get that reference. Do. Righty. There we go. Do you know what, tonight as well, didn't feel that great today, so I was unsure whether I was even going to do a stream this evening. I mean, I'm glad I did, but you know, sometimes you just get them days where you're like, oh man, I've had enough. You know, I just need to step away and go and sit and sulk or something for 5 minutes. So I wasn't sure whether I was going to do my stream tonight, but I'm glad I did. Because I do love painting, and sometimes you don't always have the motivation to paint. And then all of a sudden the motivation will come along, it will find you, and that's quite a nice place to be. Where the motivation finds you, rather than you having to sort of grab the models by the horns. Go, adding in the white there. So has anyone commented on my white question? Joel is in the house. Hello Joel, how you doing? King Crimson, muscles and painting, perfecto. Thanks dude, welcome to the channel. I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here, mate. So we don't do a huge amount of muscle chat. It's mainly we do a section in the middle of our show, about halfway through, called the muscle moment. So you'll have to stick around for the muscle moment. We normally talk about fitness for 5-10 minutes or so, and it's just a random topic every week. And in between that, we're painting miniatures. So we're just painting miniatures like this one here. We've got this Battle Sister that's in her sarcophagus. We've painted the base already, so the base is looking very cool. We've got lots of miniatures to paint. Look, we've got loads of these girls to paint. Loads of them. But at the moment we're doing the sarcophagus. So that's where we are with this. But welcome to the channel, King Crimson. Thank you for joining. How did you find the channel, King Crimson? I'd love to know. Drop it in the chat. So another bit to talk about. So our general chat conversation tonight is miniature painting. So we don't always talk about miniature painting when we're painting. Funnily enough, we talk about other geeky subjects, which is absolutely fine. But tonight I thought, well, let's actually talk about miniature painting as a whole and the sort of experiences that we have in that. We can all share our experiences together. One of the things I thought to talk about was the best paintbrush. Now, this is super controversial. The best paintbrush. What might be good for you might not be good for the man or woman next to you. So, you know, bear that in mind whenever you're making any sort of recommendations. However, what do you think is the best paintbrush out there for painting miniatures as I am doing now? Drop it in the chat, let me know. I want to know what you think the best paintbrush for miniature painting is. And that can just be a brand rather than the exact model. asking you for the exact model of brush and the size is a bit mad, but there we go. So she's looking alright so far, right? There's a few things that we need to tidy on this, but she's looking okay. She's looking alright. What we're saying in the chat, How is saying, I know that feeling, it's called my life. Joel is saying, about ready to figure out the next Chaos Chosen model. Ah, Joel, okay. So, you definitely need to put your next model into the chat on the Discord, so we can all delight in your painting. However, what have you got available, Joel? That's the question to you, sir. And then maybe we can have a little choice. Right, okay. Right, that seems to be good so far. King Crimson, come on, you haven't answered my questions. I assume from being the name King Crimson, you are a man. So, sir, what? And please do correct me if I'm incorrect, by the way. What got you to the channel? How did you find us, dude? That's what I want to know. How did you find Minis-N-Muscles, the place where the brawn meets the paintbrush? I'd love to know how. I'm just checking out the box art right now. So if I zoom out a little bit, I'm just checking out the box art because there's this little picture here. So let's zoom into this. Oh, wrong way. Doop, doop, doop. That one. So it's this picture here. So I just want to sort of look at that, and then if I do this, how are we looking in comparison so far? So there we go. That's how we're kind of looking. We need to paint her bones. That they've sort of had cut out parts of her armour for her bones. We need to paint that, and then we've got to paint the detail onto the armour, like little fleur-de-lis on that kneecap and things like that. Actually, the zip there needs to be silver, not gold. I've put it as gold. She's got like, yeah, blackish gloves or blacky browny kind of gloves. This little thing on the top as well. She's got like a little, not that you can see particularly well in that shadowed picture, but just here, where my paintbrush is, just got like a little locket. It needs a little red love heart put on it. Right, okay. So that's what we need to do. So we're going to need some silver, I think, is the next one. So for silver, we are going to use lead belcher, classic Citadel lead belcher. So best paintbrushes, guys. What do you guys use? There's a load of different options out there. I've got 3 different paintbrushes just laying on my desk as we're painting tonight, or 3 different brands of paintbrush. So I've got Citadel, I've got Army Painter, and I don't even know what this brand is. I don't think it's even branded, so I don't know what that one is. And I've also started to use some other ones which are meant to be wolf hair. Now, so far, I'm pretty disappointed with the wolf hair ones. They were meant to be really, really good, and they've not really turned out that great, if I'm honest. So I'm a little bit miffed by those, and I've put on my Christmas list a request to family friends for some new paintbrushes, and I'm hoping to go and get some Rosemary & Co paintbrushes. Now, I've heard some banging reviews about Rosemary & Co for paintbrushes. A friend of mine recommended them to me, and he's pretty certain that they are the best brushes he's ever used. He's an avid painter as well, so I trust in what he's saying. So I just need to give them a go, right? And I will do, and I will give those a go. Hopefully I'll get some for Christmas. If not, I'll have to buy them myself. We don't have a GoFundMe page for Minis-N-Muscles yet, or whatever they do on YouTube to get your stuff in, but one day we will. fact, no, we won't. I'm never going to ask you guys for stuff. That's right wrong, isn't it? Why would you ask your subscribers for things? You should be giving your subscribers the stuff, you know, as in the content. You don't want to ask your subscribers for things. So, yeah, I redact that comment. We are the giving channel here at Minis-N-Muscles. We don't take, we give. Although at some point I would love to run a competition. Thinking of giving. I'd love to do like some kind of freebie giveaway. I don't know when that will be possible, if at all. But I would love to do a giveaway at some point. That would be like the ultimate for me. To be in a position where the channel has got to a certain size where we can just give stuff away. That would be so cool. Just to be able to give people items and get them into the hobby. Mega. That is the... I think that's my aim for the channel. To be able to do that. So if we get to that point, look out for... competitions. Right, okay, so that needs to be gold. What else needs to be silver on her? Not a huge amount. She's got a little bracelet around her leg which we need to do. So have none of you got any ideas on your paintbrushes that you use? How is saying I use WizKids. Okay, so I do have a WizKids paintbrush actually. So it's actually just labelled Dungeons and Dragons, and it is this one. So there you go, and that, oh, I don't know if you can see it. Oh, I'll do it on this camera. No. Dungeons and Dragons, a detail brush. That came from a WizKids sort of Dungeons and Dragons package. And that's quite a good little brush. It's not a bad brush. It's pretty cheap. That's one thing that's really good about those brushes. Super, super cheap. You got brands like Citadel. Citadel are Games Workshop's own branded brushes that they have. They're okay. They're not amazing. I would just say they're okay. They're middle of the road. I think if they were cheaper, they would score higher in my books. But they're, for what they are, I think they're quite expensive. You've got Army Painter. Army Painter, I've actually used an Army Painter one now. This is a super detail Army Painter one. These are pretty good actually. They're cheaper than Citadel brushes. I would say they're at least on a par, if not just as good or better. So I really like these. And then you sort of start to look a bit further into other brands like Artis Opus and Winsor & Newton and Rosemary & Co. Now, out of the three of those, I'd say they're probably the three premium brands. Whereas Artis Opus is the most expensive brushes. I think, you know, Winsor & Newton are pretty expensive. Then you've got sort of Rosemary & Co. like in that mid-range. And what I've heard is although they're the mid-range price, the quality of those brushes are second to none. Hence why they're very popular. So I'm going to be trying Rosemary & Co. brushes very soon. I almost bought the other day a Artis Opus brush, but I couldn't be paying like, I think it was 18 quid for one brush. That almost broke me when I picked that up and said to the guy at the desk, oh, how much is this brush? And he goes, oh yeah, that's £18. I'm like, what? So yeah, that kind of shocked me. I didn't like that, but yeah, I won't be buying any Artis Opus brushes. They're very expensive, but they're probably very, very good. What else was saying? Optimus said, I get mine from Jackson's Art, about £7 to £8 each. I don't use any of the Paintmaker brands, no good. Ah, okay. Alright, so I'll have to have a look at those then. That sounds interesting. So I do think a lot of the branded ones are pretty average, to be honest. They're nothing special at all. And you can find cheaper alternatives in a lot of different places. So great shout there from Optimus. You know, check out your local hobby stores like Hobbycraft, maybe even. I bet Hobbycraft has got some paintbrushes in there that will suffice. They might not be the best, but I guarantee you they'll be 10 times cheaper than a GW Citadel brush, and you will probably be able to get just as good a result. Especially if you're not like me. I'm not a pro painter at all. I'm just someone that enjoys painting, right? So I think at the level I'm at, I'm quite okay with not having the most expensive brushes. For me, it really doesn't matter too much, as long as the brush doesn't go all wibbly after 2 seconds of using it. That's my frustration, where brushes lose their point. That really pees me off, because I like to have a fine point on my brush so I can do detail. And when the bloody brush goes wibble, and you end up, you know, really struggling to get those tiny little details because it won't hold a tip, it becomes very frustrating. But you know, I think there's probably other people that have just as big of frustrations as me on that. So yeah, try other brands 100%. I would do. So I'm going to have a look for Jacksons now and see if I can find some of those and use those. What else we've got to talk about? Wet palettes, yay or nay, people? Wet palettes, yay or nay? What do you think? When you're painting your miniatures and you're, you know, mixing up your colours and all the rest of it, do you use wet palettes? Yes or no? That's the first question I want to know. Do you guys use wet palettes? If you watch the channel, you will know that I use a wet palette for my paints all the time, just because I like to have a paint that spreads well. I don't like to have a really thick paint that I struggle to get onto the model, or when you put it onto the model it looks like you've got your garage door paint on it, you know, and it's really thick. You then lose all the detail of the model. So I like to have a thinned paint. So for me, a wet palette is a must-have in my paint box arsenal, or in my painting arsenal, should I say. Can't go without one. They're too darn good. To get that silky smooth paint onto your model, you should be using a wet palette. There you go, there's my advertisement for wet palettes. Use a wet palette for silky smooth paint on your miniatures. Wet palettes. There you go. Anyone wants to use that, feel free to use it. Joel is saying yes to wet. Yeah, wet palettes are really good. How is saying... oh, hang about. Optimus, sorry, is saying make sure to match the brush material with the paint you're using. Yes. Yeah, definitely. How is saying nah. I don't know what you're saying nah to. How? Sorry, mate. Joel is saying yes to wet. How is saying I think they're dumb. Oh, you think wet palettes are dumb? Dude, no. Wet palettes are really good. Joel is saying I have a white ceramic coaster I use as my dry brush. Nice. Optimus, wet palette good for acrylic as long as it's dry on top. Make my own with white baking paper. Yes, yeah, you can. Yeah, absolutely. It can't be soaked all the way through. If it's soaked all the way through, it then just ruins the paints on the top. But for these sort of water-based acrylic paints, it's really good. I like them a lot. I think they're very, very good. Here we go. Just applying a sort of a quick second coat over some of that boned area, just so it looks better. Oh, that's what I want to do actually. I've just noticed a little error in my white painting for the cloak. So I just need to tidy that up. There we go. Always finding errors as I go. But again, that's fine. If you do, don't worry. Just crack on. It's not a problem finding errors in your work. No one's going to be cross with you just because you're picking things up. Alright, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Alright, let's get some gold in there. Whoop. So, we all like wet pallets. I think they're pretty good. Apart from How doesn't like a wet pallet. But I think they're pretty, overall, they're pretty good. They're very useful, versatile. You don't have to get a massive one. You can home make it. You can buy one from the shop. Whatever you want, really. They're just handy for keeping the consistency of the paint right for when you're painting. Especially if you're like me and you've got some paint pots that don't quite close properly because they're all gunked up and you haven't cleaned them out. So all that's happening is you end up getting a bit of a thicker paint where it starts to dry inside the pot because the pot doesn't seal properly. Yeah, I know that's bad pot admin. I know. I realise that already. Just doing the edge of this little pendant that she's got on. Hopefully getting the right angles here and you guys can see. Again, apologies. I am going to buy some... In fact, I might put that on my Christmas list. Some stand-up lights so I can really light up this area so it's really bright. Because right now it's just not good enough, is it? It's not good enough, and it's not the standard that we need here on Minis and Muscles, is it? Ugh. So where's our new listener gone? So we did have... Where was he? King Crimson 4554. But he's now disappeared. Or she. Might be a she, actually. Being very judgmental there. Might be a she. We need some red, so I'm just dropping some red into the wet palette. Ready to paint this little heart on the top there. So we've covered paintbrushes, we've covered wet palettes. What else should we talk about? What have I got on my list here? What about priming models? There we go. What do you say, chat, on priming models? What's your go-to for priming models? What's your method? What's your paint? So I will tell you mine if you don't know already. My method for priming is spray cans. It's quick, it's easy, you get good coverage, you get a nice coverage as well across the model, and it's quick, which I like. I spray all my models up beforehand, whilst they're on the sprue, in fact. Spray them all up, then chop them out, glue them all together. I might put an extra bit of spray or perhaps even paint on the rest of the black, and I go for black spray. I usually use a Badham black, or I use I've forgotten what it's called, but it's the matte black. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a matte black. It's a different spray can, different brand. Damn it. What do you guys do? How is saying, do anyone have an idea to how I do my orc team? Oh, paint. How to paint your orc team. Okay, so and it's a Blood Bowl team, right? First of all, how orcs love red. So I think somewhere in this model there has to be like an emphasis on red throughout the team. Whether it's something like the team's shoulder pads are all red. So everyone in the team, their shoulder pad is red, and that's the standard. But orcs love red, so you have to have a red shoulder pad, right? So there's your first part. What say you, chat? Just sort of tidying up a little bit of gold on her sort of feet and around the edge. See, when you put a bit too much paint onto your brush, it's never a good thing. Less is more. I should live by my own rules, shouldn't I? I can hear you all saying, yes, Steve, live by your own rules, damn it. There we are. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Alright, so that's looking a bit better. I've just got this little edge here to do. There we go. Around this side. Little edge. Tidy up the elbows. Just because where I was putting the white on, I kind of overran. So just fix that slightly as we're going. Alright, okay, that's not looking too bad. That's not looking... Oh, sorry, out of camera. It's not looking too bad at all. I can cope with that. I can cope with that. What we're saying in chat... Optimus is saying goes, when you don't think you have enough paint, take half off. Yeah, absolutely. You can never, and sometimes it's laziness. That what caught me just then is pure laziness. It was, I knew that I had too much paint on my brush. Knew it as soon as my brush was going out towards the model. I could see there was too much paint. I was too lazy to take it off, and that's kind of half the problem. Sometimes, anyway. Most of the time, it's not. But for general advice, yes, take the paint off. Take it off. Just go with less. Less is more, baby, and you get just such a smarter finish. Just trying to do the little fleur-de-lis on her knee. See, this is where you want your paintbrush to hold the point, what we were talking about earlier. When it doesn't hold its point, it becomes a pain in the backside. But huzzah, we've done it. There's the fleur-de-lis on her kneecap. That is good. Just noticed there's some black that I've put on in error. Or, sorry, there's some gold that I put on in error in a place, so I need to remove that. What else are we talking about anyway, guys? Oh, we're almost at halfway. Airbrushing. Is airbrushing worth it? There you go. There's a question for you. Airbrushing. My 10 cents or 5 cents or whatever you want to call it on airbrushing. I like airbrushing for certain things. For big models, for large areas, airbrushing is actually quite cool. It's fast, it's quick. However, for doing models like this, you're never going to use an airbrush. So, I mean, you might use an airbrush, I don't know, for a glow of an eye on a space marine or something, or on his power sword, or you might use it for very small things like that, where you have this sort of light effect. They're quite good at that for detailed models. But aside from that, I've not really found much of a place for my airbrush. It's a complementary tool, not a required tool. So that would be my advice to anyone sort of contemplating and thinking about an airbrush, whether you need one or not. I would say no. I don't think you do. I mean, there might be some that vehemently argue against that, but I don't really think it's much of a necessity, an airbrush. They're really cool, and you can buy them pretty cheap. My one that I bought cheap, the compressor cheap, off of Amazon, I think it was at the time. And then the airbrush came with the compressor, so it wasn't expensive. It's super cheap. You can buy, again, just like paintbrushes, you can buy really expensive ones. Does my level of quality require an expensive airbrush? Sorry, no, I don't think so. I can quite happily get away with a cheaper version without a shadow of a doubt. And I think, to be honest, most people can. It's only the people that are going for, the paint armies on commission basis, or that paint for competition standards. And unless you really love just working with airbrushes, I don't think it's a necessity, and I don't think you need to worry too much about it, is my point. So no is my answer. I don't think airbrushes are vital. What do you guys reckon? Another tip: never get paint up to the ferrule. Yeah, so look at my paintbrush there. So you can see like the paint goes halfway up the bristles. If you get up to this part here, the ferrule, it then splits the ends. So you've got to be really careful when you're painting that you don't put too much on your brush. Another reason for following the mantra of less is more, because it's so tempting to just whack on a load of paint onto your paintbrush, but it never transpires in the way you think it might. It never ends up looking in the way you'd think it will either. Sorry if the camera's a bit skew-if here. This is really awkward to get into, actually. Again, one thing that I do when building models is sometimes I build them rather than paint them first. And in this instance, you could probably get away with painting the model in situ, so either on the sprue or as you part build, purely because it's quite an awkward position for this skull, at least. At least her skull is painted, though. Looks pretty cool. There we go. She does have a little crown on, so we will paint her crown for her. We can't let her go away with an unpainted crown, can we? It's just heresy. Let's go for this little bronze over here for the crown. So we'll go for this Skorax bronze. It's quite a nice colour, actually. Different from the gold as well, so you're sort of making a point of making it different. A lot of this armour on here is just gold, 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 which is fine. It looks very nice, but it's also lovely to have a difference, and have a bit of separation. Like in the picture, it looks like, in the box art, it looks like, see the like halo that she's got on her head? It looks like it's all gold up to her head, and I don't like that. I like some kind of separation, so I don't know what I'm going to paint that yet, but I will paint that a different colour. Purely because I just like the separation. Let's see if we can get a bit of this on here. Yeah, that goes on nicely. Don't need a huge amount again. Nice and steady as we go. Yeah, definitely need some new lights, that's for sure. There we are. However, I can assure you, I don't know if you can see, but her crown is painted. There we go. Lovely. I might drop a bit of a contrast across the set, right in the centre of the crown. See if we can zoom in here. Can you see, like, on the centre of the crown there? There's like a little circle. What we're going to do is drop some contrast onto that so that it goes blue or something. That would be really cool. She had like a blue gem in the centre. It would just look very different. So we'll try that in a sec. Just looking to see if there's any more silver as well on here that we need. Yeah. There we go. Get that silver on. Might do the inside of that sort of crown area as the silver as well. Let's see what that looks like. We might go over the gold here on the edge, but we can redo that. Lovely. Right, let's just stop there because it's halfway through the show. And for any of our new watchers that might be watching, such as King Crosley or whoever, you know, is it King Crosley his name or her name? Can't remember what their name was. Oh, I've missed my drink and it's gone cold. Let's change it back to the front view so I can see all you lovely people. And you lovely people can just about see me. Let's just bring that down a little bit. Minis and Muscles. It's the place where the brawn meets the paintbrush brushes. So we always talk about fitness around halfway through the show, and we are around halfway through the show tonight on our Friday evening live. So I wanted to talk about legs is best. And yes, I know that's a Russian Star Cup. I got it a long time ago. Not that because I sympathise with the Russians, just because it was a cup that I thought was quite funny. Anyway, legs is best. So I wanted to talk about getting massive. And getting massive, the key to getting massive, or so I think anyway, is legs, legs, legs. The great Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think it was the man that said that you get bigger. Sorry, I've just kicked over the heater. That's not good. You get bigger when you do legs exercises. Legs grows the whole body. It helps. Excuse me. Obviously, if you do a legs exercise, you're going to build your legs. But actually, The legs is the body part with the most muscle mass anyway, so it looks really good. And there's nothing worse than when you find someone that trains upper body and doesn't train lower body, and you can see a huge disparity between, you know, big hulking upper body and tiny little legs. A really good example of this, and he is a boxer, so it's slightly different, but oh gosh, Deontay Wilder, fabulous boxer, but he had a massive upper body, but his legs were skinny, tiny skinny, and it looked really, really weird. You've got your quads and your hamstrings and your glutes, which make up, which are huge, big, bulky muscles in your body. So it's also quite cool because when you train a bigger muscle, you burn more calories as well. So have you ever thought about that? So that's quite a nice one to do. Maybe that's why ladies always do the legs exercises. Legs training boosts hormone productivity. Oh, interesting, hey? So heavy squats, deadlifts, things like that, leg presses, help with hormone production. So, you know, if you're needing to boost your testosterone, or then try some legs exercises. And it also helps, of course, with, as I said, a complete total body growth. So stronger legs ultimately mean easier movement every single day of the week. So whether it's running, whether it's squatting, whatever you're doing, actually you're going to or should spend a lot of your time stood up in the day. We're not creatures that should be sat down all the time. It's easy to do. I've done it today. All I've done is sit down. I should have stood up at my desk and worked. I didn't, stupidly. But the body doesn't like it, so it actually likes to be in the vertical stood up position. And having good strong legs will help you do that. It helps with athletic performance, so power and speed, your jumping, your stability when you're moving around a football field, for example, is all from the legs. And even upper body athletes require lower body strength. So as I was saying about the Deontay Wilder, the boxer, he could have done with stronger legs. If he'd have had stronger legs, let's ask ourselves a question. Would when he faced Tyson Fury, would he have stood a better chance in, you know, after being knocked down, being able to get back up again if his legs were stronger? I don't know. Now, I'm not saying that is what would have happened, right? But it's just something to consider. So let's think about some exercises for the legs. Let's go for 5 of them. So let's go first of all for squats. You don't have to have a big bar on your back. You can just do it. Stood, hands across your chest like so, and then just squatting down with body weight. If you want to increase it and you don't have access to a gym, put a backpack on. Fill the backpack with some bottles of water. Every 1 litre of water weighs 1 kilogram, so put a load of those in there. Put it on your back, arms across, and just start squatting. So that's the first exercise. Second exercise I would say is deadlifts. However, just be very, very careful when you are doing deadlifts, because if you do it incorrectly, you can hurt your lower back. The lower back is the weakest part of the body, so just be very careful. However, deadlifts are very good for the hammies and glutes. What else? Leg press. Leg press is just a seated version, almost similar to squats. It's a slightly different angle, but it's a really good workout for building strength. So that's 1, 2, 3. Lunges. So lunges are super, super effective. Again, you don't have to do lunges with a bar on your back. You can just do lunges, but multiple of them. When I do my leg session, I finish with lunges, and that's the last thing I do. All I do is hold some kettlebells either side, and I go up and down the gym, and that finishes me off absolutely. So they're a really good finishing exercise, but great for strength. And then Bulgarian splits as well, so you can incorporate Bulgarian splits. So having your having your foot raised and behind you, squatting one side and then swapping over. Absolutely great exercise to do. It's a bit like a sort of modified lunge as such. So really good exercises. Grow the legs, don't have little chicken legs, and help the body grow overall. All right, so that is our muscle moment for the week. I've not kicked over my heater again, that's good. Don't want it to go pop. Let's whop it back down to here. So we're back with the model. We've got some silver around her head now, so that's quite good. We might want to finish that because it doesn't quite look right. So we'll just add silver there. Oh, silver there is good. There we go. Right, okay, cool. And let's just correct the gold around the edge. There we are. So what else in the painting world should we chat about? Well, I've got loads of things written down here as always. So let me scroll back to the section that we were talking about. Paint consistency. So we kind of touched on it earlier when we were talking about our wet palette, right? So paint consistency is super, super important. This is talking about how you thin your paints down and how those paints are and how you methodically do it every single time. You will get into a rhythm where when you're thinning your paints down, actually you do it instinctually and you don't have to think. But I generally go for 3 times paint, 1 bit of water. So 3 bits of paint from the brush onto the wet palette, 1 bit of water. That's kind of my ratio for just sort of base and sort of general colour. If I wanted to go for something like a wash, I would completely reverse that. So I would go with 1 lot of paint, 3 lots of water. However, consistency and remaining consistent when you're doing it is vital, because what you don't want to do is be spreading this lovely joyous colour across your model and then all of a sudden having a heart attack because you've now got a super thick paint and it looks completely inconsistent with the rest of the model. So where you've got that really lovely white flow, if you had, I don't know, a really chunky thick gold next to it, it would just look really odd. And it would kind of spoil how your model looks. And ultimately, we love to show our models off, right? And I don't mean in the sense of being a big head. I mean just because we like to be proud of what we've just painted, because these are bloody hard to paint, aren't they? So don't ruin it by lack of consistency. So yes, that is my point on consistency. Knowing your water to paint ratios. You can get little guides that you can buy, but you don't necessarily have to, as long as you know what you are doing every time. That's the main thing. And then as long as you know what you're doing every time you paint, it will just flow on. Go. Alrighty. Okay, I reckon she's pretty much done. What we do want to do though is we're going to want to put some wash on here. So just to help with the definition and the different tones that we've got, because we've got quite a couple of similar tones here. I'm going to use some Agrax Earthshade on the bone just to bring the bone a little bit. Oh no! Ah! Dang it! Look at that. That's a hobby horror moment, if ever I've seen one. Ah! Look, if I... Damn it. That's where I've dropped the Agrax Earthshade and made an absolute mess. Hobby horror live, people. This happens to me so much. I always do it, and it's always with bloody washes and contrasts. Never with a normal paint. However, that was a lot of wash. Not so good. Anyway, now it's on my mat. I can just use it straight off of my mat. We'll put that onto the bone. There we go. Again, it doesn't have to be too much when you're doing washes and shades. Go steady. Don't go crazy. So don't get a massive brush and then slabber it on. Just go easy. Take it a bit by bit and see how it looks, and then if you need to apply more to the area, apply more. Sorry, I was painting out of shot there. Do it all the time, so please do jump in the chat and tell me when I do it and say, Steve, you're painting out of shot, you fool. You can also see as well, what you can do is on these recesses, right in the bottom where the gold sort of meets the bone, if you need just to define where the bone is, you can just drop a load of the wash into that little tiny crack and it will give you what looks and appears to be a black line. It's not a black line, it's just the wash. That black line will separate your white from your gold if you were doing this model, but it works in the same principle with any other model. There we go. Bit too much in that one, but we can fix that. So we can take some out of there and put it across into this one. Take some out of there and we can use that for the skull. So we don't have to keep on going back to the same wash and applying more and more and more. Just spread it around your model. Don't be afraid to go back into a place where you've put too much. Just take a little bit off and spread it around. It's a really versatile paint. And it makes your models look cool. There we go. Nice. And I'm just going to put some black around the fleur-de-lis that's on her shoulder and her knee, and then we've got this I always forget what it's called, it's not the Aquila, but it's the insignia of the Imperium, and I forget the darn name, but I'll just put some on that as well. And again on this, all I'm trying to do is highlight the area that's painted, so just giving it some shadow, and that's all I'm using it for. I'm not using it to completely, that's gone on a bit too much. I was going to say I'm not using it to completely drown out the white colour. That's gone on a bit too much, so we can use that over here. Take a bit more off. There we go. Lovely. Alright, that gives that a nice little bit of detail. Just wanted to add some down that zip down the centre, just so it makes it look a little bit more 3D. So it puts the shade and the shadow into all the recesses. Right, let's lock them up and put them out of the way. Crikey, Steve. Oh dear, I'm getting it everywhere, all over my fin. Once you get it spilt, that's it. It goes everywhere. You can't stop it. You get it on your hands, on your table, everywhere. It just creates a look at this. Look, massive mess. Dear me. Whoop. That's not good. Live on air, see, happens to everybody, happens to the best of us. Not that I am the best of us, but it happens to everybody where they will spill a paint at some point and make a mess. That is why I use this lovely, what's it called? Painting sort of cover sheet thing. But there you go. Don't worry. Right. What are we saying here? Oh no, I've done. Oh no, I have done before. One time I did the 3 times in one day. Yeah, happens, man. I just need to grab some tissue paper. 2 seconds, guys. I need to go behind the wall and grab some tissue paper. Otherwise, I have nothing to wipe my brush. So there we go. Got a new bit of tissue paper. That's for the bin. Oh, dear me. Happens so bad when that happens, but never mind. Right, okay. Let's just adjust the seat, get back to the table. Alrighty. So, where are we at now? I think what we will do is we'll add some silver to these chains. So she's got some sort of chains that are up there holding her in place. That we'll attach some cherubs to a little bit later. Not today, but a little bit later, as in through the process of this. What's really nice with chains is because I spray my models and prime them in black, it's already done all the shadowy bits for me. So I can then come along with silver on this brush and be quite sort of down and dirty in terms of getting it thrown on there. And it doesn't matter that I'm not perfect with the paint, because with the black as the undercoat just makes it look cool. Makes it look correct. And actually, when you put too much paint on, it doesn't look right at all. It then looks weird. So you can see like the little cherub hands that are holding. You can see those little cherub hands and arms. I haven't massacred cherubs, don't worry. It's just that I haven't stuck that part of the model on yet. Purely because they're really fiddly. So what I generally do with the cherubs, this is for all my sisters actually, is I put them on last. Or I don't put them on sometimes. Again, because they're so fiddly when they're on the model, they quite often break off. So yeah, this one is a bit different because you haven't really got a choice whether you put them on or not, because that's how St. Catherine is being pulled along. She can't just float by herself. She's being sort of pulled along. Well, it's an anti-grav base, right? But it's being pulled and directed by these little servitor cherubs. So she wouldn't have a chance otherwise. She'd just be floating in one spot. She needs to be dragged around the battlefield. Poor bugger. Can you imagine that, right? You pass away, you've done your good deed for God and for country, and then all they do is they keep your body in an open casket and drag you around the battlefield to inspire everybody or scare everyone, one of the two. I don't think I'd like that. Alright, there's the chains done. What we got here? I'm just looking at some more things to talk about. Basing models. Yes, basing models. So when you're building a base like this, not like this because this is like a pre-based one, but when you're building a based model such as this one here, if I bring this into shot, you can see that there's nothing on the base at all. It just comes black, right, or whatever colour you paint it. So what do you do for basing a model? How do you make it look real? So drop it in the chat. Let me know, what do you use on your models to base? So how do you base your models? I want to know. Just looking at some of this, and I'm not sure actually. how to tackle this. I think next bit we'll do is these fleur-de-lises on the ends of the model. Yeah, so what do you guys use for basing? Basing is really interesting because even if you haven't painted your model, right, even if you've not painted the model, if you finish the base and put it on the table, it still looks pretty cool, providing you've done a half decent job. I personally think basing a model sets off the model itself. It really does look good, so it's really important that, in my opinion, that you base your models. Because it just sort of makes them a little bit more realistic, more believable, and they just look cool as heck. So how do you guys base your models is the question I'm asking. Drop it in the chat, let me know. For me, there's loads of different ways to do it. Possibly the quickest and the easiest is pre-cut pieces of sticky grass, basically. They come in little sheets, and they're little tufts of grass that you just pull off the sheet and you stick straight onto the model. They've got glue on them already. They go straight on, no worrying, no fussing around. They just go straight onto the base. They're super easy and they look cool as heck. So they are, they look like this. Let me find some. They look like that, okay? You pull them off and you just drop them straight onto the base itself. Really quick and effective way. There's loads of companies that make them. So Games Workshop, for example, make their own. You've got Army Painter that make their own. There's plenty of brands out there that make their own versions. So there's loads of options out there. You can even buy them off of places like Temu and things like that. I've seen them. So, you know, not that I'm condoning that you buy from Temu, but if that's where you want to do your shopping, they are on there. So lots of options out there available. So plenty of places to grab them. Just give it a go. It's nice and simple. If you want to go a little bit more technical, you can just buy the grass in a box. So you can buy the grass itself in just a big box. It's like little fuzzy pieces of grass, fake grass, of course. And you can then PVA the base itself and either dip the base of the model into your pot, or you can sort of sprinkle the grass over the top. So that's a little bit more technical, but you can use a combination of the both. So you can use that sticky grass that I mentioned and the stuff that you use PVA glue for to get your sort of final look, to get a blend of the two. Also gives you different colours of grass, so that's really nice. What else can you use? You can use, a lot of people use for bases, they use cork board. So standard cork board, you can cut it up into pieces. It can look like jagged rocks, and it's a really easy, effective way to make a rock for your miniature. So if you need your Space Marine stood on a rock of some sort, a rock formation, get some cork board on the go. Have a go with that. Just break it into pieces. Doesn't have to be cut into specific certain sizes. Break it off roughly because that looks better, and then just glue on pieces. Or if you don't have any corkboard, I ran out the other day and I wanted some, so I just had to make some rocks out of green stuff. So that's putty. So I made some rocks out of putty. I just rolled the green stuff out so it was nice and warm and flexible and pliable. And then I shaped them into a load of rocks for the model that I was basing. So you can use loads of different things, and it just makes a honest to God, if you don't base your models, it's almost like a crime, because you lose half of what the miniature looks like, I think. So, you know, base your models, people, is what I'm saying. If you don't, Steve Police will be around to tell you off. Optimus is saying airbrush zenithal undercoat, then either contrast or acrylic base and gloss seal for oils. Oh, okay, nice. Very posh. Yeah, quite a lot of people like zenithal priming. I think it's okay. I'm not a huge fan of zenithal priming. It's all right, is as far as I would say. I don't think it's the be-all and end-all. I think that there are other ways that look just as good, if not better. But that's a matter of opinion. That's why painting models and model building is so cool, because what one person does and another person does can still have phenomenal results, and they can still look absolutely amazing. So try them for yourself is what I would say, and then whatever you feel is, I don't know, easier or has the best effect, go with that. Yeah, we've got like broken, I don't know if that's meant to be broken, this one over here, but we've got like a broken fleur-de-lis over this side. Okay, so we've got the fleur-de-lis painted, we've got the silver chains painted. God, we've got that big gold sort of eagle there. He'll be a goldy kind of colour, but not the gold, same gold as the armour. We'll do it a different colour. Again, just for difference. Too much of the same can just look bloody hideous. So we'll go for that. Oh, you meant basing. Ah, yes. Yes, I did mean basing. Sorry, dude. Not undercoating. Yeah, so you're using resin. UV resin is absolutely fantastic. I've got some UV resin. It's really cool easy to use. You just pour it into the area you want. Get your little UV torch to dry it. And you can make some really great water effects. So I absolutely would recommend people try a bit of UV basing. It looks very, very cool. So I would 100% agree with you there, Optimus. Well worth the sort of testing and try. And it's not that expensive, actually, to be fair. You can get UV resin pretty darn cheap. I got mine from Green Stuff World. And I even got the little UV light from Green Stuff World as well. So you can get that pretty cheap. It wasn't a lot of money. I think the light was only about £5. It wasn't much at all. So just applying a slightly different gold. This is more of a sort of bronzy gold to the eagle, or whatever it is that's on the back here. The bird of some... Oh, it's double-headed eagle. There we go. And it's nice just to have that difference of colour. I've watered it down a little bit, this metallic. Sometimes people say, oh, you shouldn't, but I didn't want like it to be too bright. I wanted the black actually to come through slightly, because it gives it that sort of more older look. If it's too bright and it's too metallic, sometimes it just looks a bit fake, if that makes sense. So by watering it down, you thin it down, and then it means that the black undercoat comes through. So it doesn't look as bright, doesn't look as sort of in your face. So that would be my recommendation if you want to kind of try and dull your metallics down. Just play around with thinning it ever so slightly, just so you can get the darker undercoat to come through. There we go. There you go, boy. Lovely jubbly. There he is, our little birdie on the end there. Nice, looking alright so far. So there she is. You can't see that this is brown, but this is actually brown here. It's not black. There is a little sort of central like fireplace thing in the centre here. So like a centre of the altar itself. So we'll see if we can just get some silver on that. There we go. A little bit of silver in there. Yeah, but there's so many cool things for basing. So actually what I found really good is just grabbing stuff from outside. Nice bits of bark, so tree bark, pebbles, so little pebbles and stones that you might find when you're walking around, or some people have like stone driveways. I'm not telling you to go rob people's stones off their driveway, but those kind of small, tiny stones work really well in a 32-28mm scale, and they work really well as big rocks, right? So they're really cool to get if you can grab any of those. I have some round my house, so I just grab a few slack handful every now and then. And hopefully I'll never run out. I'll move, and then people will be like, why is there like all these little pebbles missing? Where have they all gone? And I shall run away into the wind, laughing as I go. Right, so we got that. We've got some candles on the back and a little lockbox as well. So that needs its own little colour. What have we got up here? So I have got one more metallic, which is this sort of, it's called Screaming Bell, and this is quite a bright colour, which I think would be all right for the what's it called, for this little lockbox. There we go. Nice, okay. So there we are. Not perfect, but not bad. There we go. So you've got that little bit there. And then candles. Oh, crikey. So some people with the candles, they do the candles as red. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Maybe we try a darker red though. Maybe we try a red like this. Corn red. Model of the sister there should have a mortuary mask like Tutankhamun would look better, I think. Yes, poor girl. She's got her own face out. I feel sorry for her lying like that, being dragged around the battlefield. She must be hella tired by now. She's super tired by now. Everyone screaming and shouting and bothering her while she's trying to get a bit of sleep. I don't know if red candles would look right though. I've seen them used a lot, but I don't know. I'm not sure. See what they, once we paint them, we'll see what they look like once they're finished. Only reason why I'm not sure on red candles is because then you've got to then try to avoid red in the flames, right? So this makes your process for painting the flames, which is never easy task anyway. Painting fire is, you know, quite a tricky little task to do to make it look good. So yeah, you've got to be a bit careful. So again, make sure your red is not too thickly painted on, so it's not sort of standing out super bright. If you are going to use red for your candles, use it. Use a darker tone red, and go thin with your paints, so it doesn't look too bright and out of place. To be fair, this is such a cool model, and this is why I really liked the idea of painting this, because there's so much going on when you put all this together, all the little sort of figurines, and once you get them all on there, all the individual sisters, you know, it looks so cool. So much happening. Again, if you don't, when you're painting these candles, when you're doing it, don't worry too much about getting every little tiny bit of the candlestick red, because when you're painting and you leave a little bit of black here or a little bit of black there, it actually makes it, I know it sounds silly, but it makes it look more real. Because in real life, apart from if, I don't know, you're wearing some very weird red colour, but things that you make don't naturally, when you look at them, look completely block coloured. They look sort of like they have other colours existing within them. So when you are painting, that's kind of what you want to try and achieve. So don't worry if you've got a little bit of undercoat poking through or another little bit elsewhere. That's completely okay. What we've got here in the chat. I thought about getting that model and trying to convert it into a Sigmar type diorama for Old World. Oh yeah, you should do, dude. It's a great model. It's a bit pricey to just cut up though, and then again, then you've got to think, oh well, what rules am I going to be using with this model, and what would it replace? So if there's something that you could put into your army that this could be used for, absolutely, it's a banging model, man. I'd genuinely do that. It would look cool, and it is quite old world anyway. So it doesn't look sort of your typical 40k really. It does look quite sort of old worldy. Right, I think I've got them from that side, Okay, so we got that there. What's the time? 10:02. Oh crikey, best do our hobby horror moment before I forget. How is saying, I want to know, do anyone want to kit bash an Inferno miniature? Yeah, well, once you tell people all about Inferno and people know more about it, I am sure people will want to kit bash an Inferno miniature. Absolutely sure. So here's a hobby horror moment. I'll tell you. I'll just switch camera very quickly. Hobby horror moment. I can tell you. So I recently decided to pre-order a shiny new Warhammer model. Right, everyone else did, right? It's completely okay. I smashed the pre-order button so hard you think the Emperor himself told me to do it. A week later, though, disaster struck slightly. So the model did arrive. So I got the model, except the box looked like it had been punted through the Eye of Terror. So you'll know what the Eye of Terror is if you're a Warhammer fan. If you're not, it's what's the easiest way to describe it? The place where all the big bad people go. So it looks like this box has been pushed through absolutely everywhere. The sprues inside were rattling around far more than usual. It sounded like maracas, and some of the bits inside were actually snapped off as well. So yeah, the worst part, the store emailed me saying as well that it was available for... So I'd bought it, received it, and then the store had emailed me that day to say that, oh look, we've now got these models available instantly for sale. And I thought, hey, I had to then pre-order it and I had to wait. And now you're saying it's all free. So it just kind of bugged me that I got that on the same day as well. So whilst everyone else got theirs early, I got mine, and it was kind of early, but it was beaten up, battered and bruised. Yeah, it looked like it'd been in a fight with the Carnifex or something like that. However, that was my hobby horror moment, receiving a badly bruised model in the post. Have you ever experienced anything similar, maybe? If you have, drop it in the chat and let me know. Let's just pop down here just for the last 5 minutes, just whilst we tidy a couple of little things. There's like a little edge there that I just wanted to correct. Go. But she's looking alright, I think. She looks pretty good. Oh, you can't really... There you go. Oh, let's do the little blue thing. Let's do the little blue thing on the top of her head. Let's get that on there. Let's get a nice bright blue... No, not that. What about this? So I've got this Talasar blue, right? Let's use that because that's a really bright colour. Oh, I had another hobby horror moment actually. Here's another one that will make you laugh. I've had a few disasters recently. Where I put in my sort of drawers, where I put all of my contrasts and shades in that, I put all of the shades and contrasts in the same place. And for some reason, I hadn't put the lid back on this fella. So I hadn't put the lid back onto this Imperial Fist yellow, and it had gone everywhere in my tray. Can you see where it had gone in my tray? It's all dry. Look at that though. Look at that. It had gone all over every single paint. So I've had a couple of hobby horror moments recently, which have been an absolute pain in the backside, but we got there eventually. So with this Talasar blue, what I want to do, I've got to be very careful here. I need my geek glasses just so I don't mess this up. And I want to put the blue onto the gemstone that is in the middle of her crown. Like that. You can't quite see it, but it is there, I assure you. There we go. Right, that's that. Lovely. What else is there to do on this little lady? So, oh, we've got these like coils there. They should probably be painted. And we've got to do the flames as well. These coils are quite easy. Shapes like this, where you've got like a sort of gap in between it all, you can, generally speaking, run your paintbrush down there. Load it up. You load your paintbrush up gently, but you can then just run your paintbrush straight down the side of the bit you're trying to paint. And as long as, again, you're not heavy-handed, you'll end up completely missing all the gaps and going straight across, and you'll end up with a lovely edge-painted little accent. Is that the right word? No. Part of your model. The edge of the model anyway. You'll get the edge of the model, not the gap, is what I'm trying to say. Like that. So there we go. Alrighty. Oh, there's a little thing actually on that. Oh, gosh darn it. And there's also some wax. There's some wax on there. Well, that's spilt through, and then there is a little gold piece of insignia that goes down here. Well, it looks like next week we'll end up getting onto the sisters, because I think we've pretty much finished this. I mean, there might be little bits that I might want to add or change or, fix. But generally speaking, I think this model is pretty done. There we go. Right, I just need some black on there. Just where I've gone over the edges of some other bits. There we are. Lovely, lovely. Okay. Not bad. Well, hopefully everyone's had a good show. Hopefully everyone's enjoyed the chat. And hopefully you've got lots of geeky stuff planned for this weekend. Ironically, I don't have anything geeky planned for the weekend. I mean, I will do something geeky, whether that is... might play a computer game, maybe. Because I haven't done much gaming recently. But I do need to do some painting as well of my other stuff for my armies, so I need to catch up on that. There's always painting to do here in the home of Minis and Muscles. And that is miniature painting, not painting houses or anything else ridiculous. There's only one form of painting that we ever talk about here on this channel. That is not painting houses, that's for sure. I decided on this flames, on these candle flames, that I'm going to start with the white. White is always at the centre of a flame anyway, so I'm thinking, right, okay, well, I'm going to start at the centre of the flame, just apply the white to the model, and then work out from there. And see how that goes. Because it's, I find, doing little flames and making them look decent is actually a tricky little task. Right, just to get behind this model as well. Again, where I could have painted pre-assembly, probably be a better idea. Right, so there we go, we've got some white on the flames, but that's about time. That's all we've got time for. Probably why she's dead. Yeah, she's been killed through boredom. Why are there gaps in her armour to show the bone? Surely that's not combat armour. Yeah, that's why she's dead. Yeah, absolutely, mate. I don't know why. It's like they're proving that she's dead. Yep, we can all see she's dead. We all know she's dead, and you know, not quite buried, but almost there. But it don't look bad now. I've not finished the flames yet, but that's okay. You've got the bottom, the little grav plates on the bottom. So it looks pretty good. And that will be a nice little centerpiece to our diorama, our sister's diorama. I do need to work out, though, what this is right in here. I don't know if that's a flame or that's... Let's have a look at the box. What does it say on the box? Oh, it's just red. Oh, is that a flower? It might be a rose that's in the centre here. For the Order of the Sacred Rose. I don't know if that's what this is. Actually, it looks like a heart. Oh, don't tell me. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me knowing Warhammer, right? They've, you know, revealed her bones through her armour. They dug her heart out and they've put it in here. Actually, it does look like a heart. Oh, my lord. Well, that is the grimdark world of Warhammer for you. It does look like a heart that's right hanging in there. Gross. Never mind. Poor girl. Oh, hopefully she'll get some peace at some point and she'll be able to retire. Anyway, let's change our camera across to the front view. Woo! What a session! So we managed to get. So how do we look so far? We've got our base done, which is pretty cool. This lady's pretty much done as well. So we've got the base. We've got this lady. Let's just bring her around here so you can see. Do have the flames and the candles to do, but aside from that, looks pretty good. There she is in there. There you go. She looks pretty cool. I'd also magnetised the base, so that's already done. And she will sit on here like that. And then you're going to have some cherubs hanging here, and then you get the rest of the sisters that are stood around. That obviously will be glued that way like that. But that is how it looks. It's pretty good. It's looking good so far. I will take some pictures and put it onto the Discord so you can all see. How is saying maybe you can do something in the Discord like playing a video game with your fans. Ooh, okay. Well, I don't really have many fans, but yeah. Don't know actually. Can I? I've never played a video game through Discord, so I'd have to work out how to do that. But it's a possibility. Absolutely, absolutely. Otter saying no way that would still be fresh. Yeah, absolutely agreed, dude. The heart would not be fresh. However, I don't know how they're keeping it. Maybe they're doing some strange magic on it to keep it alive. Maybe that's what this like machine thing is. You see like this little central bell thing? It's like a little machine. Maybe that is actually pumping the blood round to keep her heart going. Ooh, maybe. There is two little sort of, I don't know if you can see it, but right on the back, you see the sort of two little nodules on the back of the silver thing. Maybe they are like little pumps to pump the blood in and out of the body. Maybe I have to paint them red just so that's what it is. Gav is saying, or Pell is saying, play Fortnite, you got no fans. Yeah, I know I've got no fans. How is saying, I'm right here, one of your fans. Yes! See, look at that. That's true love. Cheers, Hal. Appreciate it, pal. So yes, my cousin Pell is online giving me grief. But anyway, it is the end of the show. I've had a wonderful time speaking to every single one of you. I appreciate you. Thank you for your chats, keeping me entertained as I talk rubbish around the geek world. We paint miniatures. Remember to like the video once it's posted. It'll be posted straight after this live is finished. So make sure you like it, comment on it. That all helps. Share it with your buddies. Get your buddies watching as well. It'd be lovely to get some more fresh new faces on board as well. So keep it up. Keep it going. Make sure you get out this weekend and do some fitness and do something geeky. That fitness can be just a walk, as long as it's a good walk, a good distance. And that geeky thing can be absolutely anything, from opening packets of Pokemon to collecting WWE belts to playing video games, whatever it is, all right? So get yourself out there, do something geeky, do some fitness, and I will see you all next Friday at 7 PM UK time. Have a wonderful weekend. Take it easy. Speak soon, and I'll see you in the Discord.
Minis-N-Muscles, we're heroes, right? The dying world's still mighty skies. Rushing ahead, with power we fight. Strength that breaks you, light in the light. Where the brawn meets the brawn. The story stone in this love imagination mode. With every stroke, adventures unfold. Minis-N-Muscles, heart and soul. To explore, roll the future, hear the dice roar, gaining realms of muscles drawn, together in this place where we belong. Joining spells, casting dreams until the dawn, leveling up and the world to follow. With painted heroes shining bright, venturing on the